Hi, and welcome back to Food Farms and Chefs. We have an exciting show for you today, starting out with the marketing director for Altamarea Restaurant Group, Kayla Boylai. Kayla, thank you for joining us on Food Farms and Chefs.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So um a little bit about your history and your background. You went to George Washington University and graduated in the hospitality business. Well, actually, sorry, marketing and public relations. Um
Ah,
and yeah, and so
yeah.
what was that like? Because right out of the bat, like you started working for a major chain.
Yeah, so I actually studied international affairs in college, and I had the opportunity as I was bartending and waitressing through college, had the opportunity to have my first internship in marketing. And when I was getting out of college, I was like, how can I find a job at the intersection of these things that I love, which is, being front of house and working in marketing, and also the study of cultures and traveling and what does that look like? And so I happened to be looking at brands that I really believed in and thought that were doing really interesting things. And I had visited for one night once in college the W Hotel in South Beach, and I saw that the group in New York City, the W Hotels of New York, were hiring a marketing and PR coordinator, and I landed that as my first job out of college, which was a really amazing opportunity. And it really set such a great bar for me as far as the standard for what I wanted to do with my life.
And moving forward, I mean, speaking of what you're doing for your life, moving forward, you now are participating or are working under a large conglomerate of restaurants under, the founder,
Fakahany, yep.
Fakahany, sorry.
Yeah.
Um, and he founded a group where it's an elevated, like all of across the board, all of the restaurants that are under the umbrella of his company are, elevated, are high end, are, sought after. And so, what is it like transitioning into the restaurant industry and working for a business that is so highly acclaimed?
Yeah, so Ahmass is a really amazing boss and restaurateur, and the fact that he comes from a finance background, I believe, makes him uniquely positioned to be so successful in this industry. So he was formerly the COO of Merrill Lynch, and during the 2008 housing crisis, he ended up transitioning at that time, and that's when we opened, or when he opened Maria, which is our flagship restaurant on Central Park South. And what I see as being so unique about his expertise versus other restaurateurs, and what I have found to be such a opportunity in the way that I have expanded what I know about the industry, is that the lens of financial importance that he takes to every single piece of decision making that he makes within our restaurants is so much more than I've ever experienced before within restaurants. So, yes, he's an innovator. Yes, he believes in all of our chefs, and yes, he's a collaborator. But also, there's this element of being a really focusing in on the details from a financial perspective, not just about what it looks like to have a successful business, but also long term, what is the revenue opportunity and how do we make that grow? And I feel that that's why this is an elevated restaurant group, as Altamarea Group is. And that's why there's such an opportunity for us to continue to be growing globally, as he is also our sister group. He's the CEO of our sister group, which is the Atelier House Hospitality, which is based in Dubai. And, there's just so many different ways in which he's bringing global learnings into the things that we do on a day to day basis.
And I'm glad that you brought that up because I did want to touch base on the fact that, the restaurants under his companies are not just, stateside, they're also across the globe.
Yep.
Which I feel like a lot of the restaurateurs that, that we bring on are very, myopically like in the States. A select few are, across the globe. And, it takes it to a whole nother level when you're looking at a group that is offering, food, beverages, and just an experience entirely in its entirety, across the globe, because it brings it to a whole nother level. It brings it a whole different perspective and experience.
Yeah, I would say it's interesting bringing it back to my experience at W Hotels. When W first started as a brand, they were known for using the W and the alliteration of it in all of their branding. So it was WOV and the wet deck and all of these like fun plays on using that for how they spoke with and engaged with their guests. And one of the things about where W was at that time is that they were expanding incredibly rapidly over seas as well. And what they were finding as they were doing a lot of these brand positioning studies was that some words did not translate literally when you were trying to create brands in other languages. And so how do you actually build a global brand with a language that is rooted in English, or with an identity that is rooted, as the W was at that time, as it was started in New York, with a brand identity that was rooted in New York City? And so in 2011, 2012, we were part of the larger rollout of what the new global identity was for W Hotels. And because I was on the team that was based in New York, I helped to, bring that to life for the properties in New York, and saw all that come to life as it was brought down from a trickle down effect from the global team that was, working on that. So it was a really cool thing to understand, how you translate brands and how people around the world connect with brands and experiences differently. Similar to today, the restaurants that we have, we just opened a restaurant in India, in New Delhi, and that experience, and everything from the process to build a restaurant to the actual way that people want to dine and consume at a restaurant is going to be very different than it is here in the States. So for someone like Ahmass to understand the nuances of the business from globally, the global perspective is so important. And it's just, then the marketing of it is key too. How are we talking about that differently when we're highlighting the wins for social media? What are we doing to highlight our staff a little bit differently to ensure that we're championing their successes in the ways that they want to be championed?
Yeah.
All of these elements are key to the differentiation of global, cultures.
And touching base on championing the people that work under you guys, with you leading the way with the restaurant business, your corporate executive chef, Lauren DeSteno, she's brought a whole different level to all the different restaurants that are under the umbrella. And you guys have some like hidden talents of like Michelin star rated restaurants, and you've been highlighted in so many different magazines and on the Zagat book, and like you're the restaurants at which I are Maria Morini, Alfie, sorry, AI Fiorni, 53 Nicolette, and Brood, which is probably the most approachable location, is Brood, because it's the coffee place. But you guys offer everything from the coffee cafe kind of industry to a pizzeria to the high end, more elevated, sit down dining experiences.
Yeah. For a total testament to Chef Lauren, she is a powerhouse chef. She's a powerhouse woman. She's a powerhouse mom. Like getting to work with someone like that has been such a pleasure and an honor in my position right now. I really get to learn so much from her. I enjoy seeing the way that she manages her team. And one of the things that she's super passionate about in the restaurants and has been, a key and bringing to life is the zero waste initiative. And so, I've spoken to her quite a bit about that. As every time that the media comes to us, as they're super excited about it too. I get to connect her with them, and so I've been a fly on the wall in some of those conversations. So it's always exciting for me to get to hear her share that firsthand on how she started that. And a lot of that came to life because she's always been super passionate about sustainability and felt it was really important to bring some element of like true authentic sustainability initiative to the restaurants. And so when it's not like there wasn't enough going on during COVID, and yet it's during COVID that she ended up taking this huge initiative on and bringing it to life, and bringing it to life with like complete seeing it through to the finish line. And so the fact that Maria was designated 100% zero waste restaurant as of 2022 is incredibly impressive. And the restaurant's partnership with the Billion Oyster Project. If you go to Maria, that seafood and as it's called, Maria high tide.
Yeah.
A lot of what a lot of what guests are enjoying at our restaurant is going to be seafood. So for us to have a partnership where we are finding ways to reuse oyster shells, and in such a local way, as the organization is based here in New York, it's for me, I care a lot about the environment as well. And I couldn't be more proud to work for an organization, nor to work for a chef that finds ways to bring that to life in a true way.
Yeah, and I know New York was one of the first, or at least I feel like New York was one of the first places that I saw when it started happening, when people were like recognizing, no, we need to replace, we need to give the shell or place the shells back so that new oysters and new coral reefs and whatnot can be formed, and like just the health of the environment that we pull from, where we're taking the oysters, we're eating the fish, and we need to be able to keep that going. And it's a big deal that restaurateurs like yourself and like Chef Lauren have found a way to give back, because it's important that we continue to do that and make those things available to us.
Absolutely, super important.
Yeah. Now, we have about 5 minutes left to talk about some of the food offerings outside of just the seafood that we can, our listeners can find at your restaurants. So I'm sure that you've definitely partaken of eating at all of the different locations at some
Yes,
point. So
definitely.
yeah. So what are some of your favorite items at the different locations?
Sure. So I would say at Maria, I have to say the lobster stiche, which is a lobster a cold lobster dish with burrata, super delicious. It sounds counterintuitive to have lobster and burrata, but oh, it's done so well. It's incredible. Also, I must bring up the fusilli with braised octopus is a signature dish at Maria. At Fiori, I would say the spicy crab spaghetti is definitely one of my favorite, as is the caviar appetizer is an amazing one too. Um, and then when at Marini, which is where I'm actually sitting right now, we have a truffle arancini, which is super good. And what else? We have we also have a pasta that has truffle in it. They're almost like these like really soft little dumplings, very sweet.
Wait, so do they actually shave the truffle? Because that's, um into the pasta?
So it's actually the shape of the pasta is capelletti, and it's got like a almost like a capelletti. It's in the I want to say it's like in the actual cream inside. It's almost like a ravioli, and it's like
Okay.
inside of it. It's super good, and it's like little like bite morsels of goodness every bite.
I'm
How's that? How's that for some very articulate descriptions?
no, yeah,
But
it works. It totally works.
um, yeah, and then actually down in DC at Nicoletta Italian Kitchen, we have an everything bagel pizza. The crust is everything bagel. It's so good and it's so unique. It's awesome.
I mean, I feel like that the everything bagel like seasoning kind of became a
Yeah,
trend like 2 years. I don't want to say
totally.
2 years. Yeah, but like
Yeah,
so
the
the
Trader
fact that
Joe's one. Yeah.
exactly. And like it became so popular because of TJ's knock on, woohoo. But
Yeah,
but
totally.
it's something I wouldn't have thought to put on a pizza. So I'm sure it adds like just that extra oomph um
Totally. Yeah, it's
for the
really good.
crusting and like the fluffy crust. Like with just a little bit of burnt cheese on it, like it's perfect.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely delicious. We have a really great pizza chef down there, and like that's his expertise. Pizzaolo, they're called.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Now, I
yeah.
want to also mention the fact that, on top of all of the other things that you guys offer, online, you actually do have recipes for some of the dishes and cocktails that you guys have offered.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, I know the lobster ceviche recipe is on there, which is an amazing summer recipe. And we definitely have a few of our cocktail recipes as well. Our bar programs director, Kelly Verardo, is super talented, constantly creating and concocting all different cocktails. And so I know a few of her recipes are up there too, and highly recommend if you go to altamarea that you can check them out there.
Yeah. Now, I want to also mention the fact that you guys offer different events in catering as well.
Yeah, definitely a lot. Most of our restaurants, you can do large format takeout catering, so we can come to you, and certainly, we also host almost every single one of our locations has really beautiful private dining spaces, so you can host events with us and have all sorts of private cocktail affairs or gatherings with us as well.
Which is always a positive thing. And I want to reiterate the fact that like there these are restaurants that have James Beard Award recognition and winning, you've won awards that way. You have the Michelin star. This is a level and an elevated experience where you're gonna go in, and whether you're having a date night or you know having your event catered, you're going to be having an amazing meal. So, with that said, we unfortunately ran out of time. So, where can
Mhm.
our listeners find you and make reservations and find more information about?
Sure. So if you head to altamareagroup.com, ALTAMAREA group.com, all our information is there, recipes, all about private dining, as well as reservations for our restaurants in New York City, Miami, New Jersey, New York, and internationally as well in DC.
And coming into California as well.
Yeah, we'll be opening in Beverly Hills in January 2024.
All right. Well, on that note, thank you so much again for joining us on Food Farms and Chefs, Kayla. And I look forward to seeing you out and about again.
Great. Thanks so much for having me.
No problem.